Once the atonement was done, then in this process of sacrifice, then he was cleansed. He no longer had leprosy. Read.
And the priest shall make an atonement for him before Ahiah. And the priest shall offer the sin offering, and make an atonement for him that is to be cleansed from his uncleanness. And afterward he shall kill the burnt offering, and the priest shall offer the burnt offering and the meat offering upon the altar. And the priest shall make an atonement for him, and he shall be clean. Verse 33. And the Most High spake unto Moses and unto Aaron, saying, When ye be come into the land of Canaan, which I give to you for a possession, and I put the plague of leprosy in the house of the land of your possession, and he that owneth the house shall come and tell the priest, saying, It seemeth to me there is as it were a plague in the house.
Hey, leprosy was no joke. Read this. Take heed to leprosy. Read.
Then the priest shall command that they empty the house before the priest go into it to see the plague, that all that is in the house be not made unclean. And afterward the priest shall go in to see the house. And he shall look on the plague, and behold, if the plague be in the walls of the house, with hollow strakes, greenish or reddish, which in sight are lower than the wall, then the priest shall go out of the house to the door of the house, and shut up the house 7 days. And the priest shall come again the 7th day, and shall look, and behold, if the plague be spread in the walls of the house. Then the priest shall command that they take away the stones in which the plague is, and they shall cast them into an unclean place without the city. And he shall cause the house to be scraped within round about, and they shall pour out the dust that they scrape off without the city into an unclean place. And they shall take other stones, and put them in the place of those stones. And he shall take other mortar, and shall plaster the house. And if the plagues come again and break out in the house, after that he had taken away the stones, and after he had scraped the house, and after it is plastered, then the priest shall come and look, and behold, if the plague be spread in the house, it is a fretting leprosy in the house.
When I was reading this, you know what came to my mind? I'm like, these germs, or whatever you want to call these things, it's like the residue of demons. And today we have like Lysol, that kind of stuff to kill the bacteria, or whatever. It's like this is my own. It's like the residue of them. Like, they just filthy enough. They're there. And so they didn't have Lysol then, so they had to get the stone and take it outside. We say without, that means outside of the city. But I'm like, spirits come in all different shapes and fashion and forms. There's just not one form. Okay? Read.
If the plague be spread in the house, it is a fretting leprosy in the house. It is unclean. Verse 45. And he shall break down the house, the stones of it, and the timber thereof, and all the mortar of the house, and he shall carry them forth out of the city into an unclean place. Moreover, he that goeth into the house, all the while that it is shut up, shall be unclean unto the even. And he that lieth in the house shall wash his clothes, and he that eateth in the house shall wash his clothes. And if the priest shall come in and look upon it, and behold, the plague hath not spread in the house, after the house was plastered, then the priest shall pronounce the house clean, because the plague is healed.
Then it goes into someone that's poor. It gives their sacrifice. Okay, that's precept.
Leviticus chapter 15, verse 1 through 33. And it reads, And the highest spake unto Moses and to Aaron, saying, Speak unto the children of Israel, and say unto them, When any man hath a running issue out of his flesh, because of his issue he is unclean. And this shall be his uncleanness in his issue, whether his flesh run with his issue, or his flesh be stopped from his issue, it is his uncleanness.
Men, the Most High did not create us to have what we have, to have running issues. So we know if it's a running issue, it's an issue. It's an issue. Okay? So y'all, you hear me? I said the Most High did not create us to have the what we have, to have things running out of it, no, you know what I'm saying? So if something comes out of our situation, we know it's an issue. It discharged. So we know it's coming from what? Uncleanness, doing something that we had no business doing. Okay, so it's talking about what? STDs. Okay. You only get STDs one way. Last I checked. Let's go.
Every bed whereon he lieth that hath the issue is unclean, and everything whereon he sitteth shall be unclean. And whosoever toucheth his bed shall wash his clothes, and bathe himself in water, and be unclean unto the even. And he that sitteth on anything whereon he sat that hath the issue shall wash his clothes, and bathe himself in water, and be unclean unto the even. And he that toucheth the flesh of him that hath the issue shall wash his clothes, and bathe himself in water, and be unclean unto the even. And if he that hath the issue spit upon him that is clean, then he shall wash his clothes, and bathe himself in water, and be unclean unto the even. And what saddle soever he rideth upon that hath the issue shall be unclean. And whosoever toucheth anything that was under him shall be unclean unto the even. And he that beareth any of those things shall wash his clothes, and bathe himself in water, and be unclean unto the even. And whomsoever he toucheth that hath the issue, and hath not rinsed his hands in water, he shall wash his clothes, and bathe himself in water, and be unclean unto the even. And the vessel of earth that he toucheth, which hath the issue, shall be broken, and every vessel of wood shall be rinsed in water. And when he that hath an issue is cleansed of his issue, then he shall number to himself 7 days for his cleansing, and wash his clothes, and bathe his flesh in running water, and shall be clean. And on the 8th day he shall take.
Notice how it says running water? That's why I can't stand baths. I like, I'm a shower person. Running water. But you bath, y'all think, I'm not opposed to baths, y'all look at me all crazy. But you take a bath, I think it'd be necessary to take a shower afterwards, because, the dirt, you sit up in your own dirt. That's just my opinion. That's what it is. In the wrong, though, sometimes it's been long to me, I can't help it. That's how I took a bath, about 30 years. But anyway, in the wrong with sitting in there with some episode, whatever, when you sew and stuff. That's just me. But I'm a shower person. I know people love baths. I talked to my cousin a couple days ago, she loves baths. And I said, okay, so I just, yes.
Bath takes after the bath, you usually rinse off too.
That's good news. Cause back when, I hated it because back when I was a kid, we didn't have a shower. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, this ring around there, there's like, what, 4 of us in the house? See, now I'm mad, I'm getting in their business. You know what I'm saying? I got a little brother. Anyway, I was happy when the shower came. I went to college and had to take a shower. I was sold. Shower it was since then. Let's get it.
Verse 14. And on the 8th day he shall take to him 2 turtle doves, or 2 young pigeons, and come before Ahiah unto the door of the tabernacle of the congregation, and give them unto the priest. And the priest shall offer them, the one for a sin offering, and the other for a burnt offering. And the priest shall make an atonement for him before the Most High for his issue. And if any man's seed of copulation go out from him, then he shall wash all his flesh in water, and be unclean unto the even. And every garment and every skin whereon is the seed of copulation shall be washed with water, and be unclean unto the even.
I'm not even gonna get into that, but y'all know what we're talking about. Okay. Let's go.
The woman also with whom man shall lie with seed of copulation, they shall both bathe themselves in water and be unclean unto the even. And if a woman have an issue, and her issue in her flesh be blood, she shall be put apart 7 days, and whosoever toucheth her shall be unclean unto the even. And everything that she lieth upon in her separation shall be unclean. Everything also that she sitteth upon shall be unclean.
So let's go take this into our days. Okay. Many women still have the same mindset, and hey, more power to you. But understand one thing, that we no longer are under the Levitical priesthood, so there's no coming to the priest
For the cleansing.
for the cleansing. We're going through Christ to the Most High. You know what I'm saying? So we can't take a turtle dove and an ox or eel. You know what I'm saying? So we're not under this anymore. We're not together as a nation. There's no house for the women in their uncleanness. You know, so. Because I had a brother try to tell me a while ago, he told me that, what were we talking about? He was trying to tell me something about me keeping the law or something. And I said, okay, so are you, when your wife is on her flowers, are you still sleeping in the same bed? And he tried to change the Surrey and say that's personal. The laws are personal. Because what he was asking me, I'm like, no, it's all the same. Like, you know, we are not under the, I'm not saying we're not under the law, we are under the law, but we're not under the Levitical priesthood. So this operation, we don't have this anymore. So with Christ, things did change. You know what I'm saying? We're not doing this, but we're still keeping God's laws. There's a facet of it that we cannot do, okay? Because you can't go to the priest with your sacrifice. So that whole sacrificial stuff is done away with, okay? Somebody silent?
Check. Verse 21. And whosoever toucheth her bed shall wash his clothes, and bathe himself in water, and be unclean unto the even. And whosoever toucheth anything that she sat upon shall wash his clothes, and bathe himself in water, and be unclean unto the even. And if it be on her bed, or on anything whereon she sitteth, when he toucheth it, he shall be unclean unto the even. And if any man lie with her at all, and her flowers be upon him, he shall be unclean 7 days, and all the bed whereon he lieth shall be unclean. And if a woman have an issue of her blood many days out of the time of her separation, or if it run beyond the time of her separation, and all the days of the issue of her uncleanness shall be as the days of her separation, she shall be unclean. Every bed whereon she lieth all the days of her issue shall be unto her as the bed of her separation. And whatsoever she sitteth upon shall be unclean, and the uncleanness of her separation. And whosoever toucheth those things shall be unclean, and shall wash his clothes, and bathe himself in water, and be unclean unto the even. But if she be cleansed of her issue, then she shall number to herself 7 days, and after that she shall be clean. And on the 8th day she shall take unto her 2 turtle doves, or 2 young pigeons, and bring them unto the priest to the door of the tabernacle of the congregation, and the priest shall offer the one for a sin offering, and the other for a burnt offering. Verse 30. And the priest shall make it an atonement for her before Ahiah, for the issue of her uncleanness. Thus shall ye separate the children of Israel from their uncleanness, that they die not in their uncleanness, when they defile my tabernacle that is among them. This is the law of him that hath an issue, and of him whose seed goeth from him, and is defiled therewith, and of her that is sick of her flowers, and of him that hath an issue of the man, and of the woman, and of him that lieth with her that is unclean.
So this is showing that this is only covering a small facet of illnesses or diseases, whatever, or situations. But for all things, the Most High have always had a remedy. Okay? Yeah, touch that hand up. Okay, so it's showing you that all these things come from sin. Even women being in their flowers that come from our mothers. You know, our first mother sin. Okay? So, with all these things, you see that there was a sin offering, a burnt offering for their atonement to cleanse them. Now, let's get into the physicians. Sirach, or Ecclesiasticus in the Apocrypha, chapter 38.
Ecclesiasticus chapter 38, verse 1. Honor a physician with the honor due unto him for the uses which ye may have of him, for Ahiah hath created him.
Now, I want y'all to understand something. What physician is the Most High talking about right now? Yes. The priest. That's true. But at this time, we're together. The physicians are servants of the Most High God. We were never supposed to be ruled by any other nation. So these physicians trust in the Most High God. And they're commanded to do something too. Okay? Read.
Next precept, Acts chapter 28, verse 3 through 10.
We're going to get back to that. Acts 28.
Mm-hmm.
3 through 10.
Acts chapter 28, verse 3. And when Paul had gathered a bundle of sticks and laid them on the fire, there came a viper out of the heat and fastened on his hand. And when the barbarians saw the venomous beast hanging on his hand, they said among themselves, no doubt this man is a murderer, whom thought he had escaped the sea. Yet vengeance suffereth not to live. And he shook off the beast into the fire, and felt no harm. Howbeit they looked, and when he should have swollen or fallen down dead suddenly, but after they had looked a great while, and saw no harm come to him, they changed their minds, and said that he was a god.
Now check this out. This is the Apostle Paul, right? At this time, he was not Saul. He was righteous. And committed to do the work of the Most High. So no harm would fall upon Paul as he's doing while he's doing the Most High will. Okay? So he's protected from this venomous snake. Okay? Read.
Verse 7. In the same quarters were possessions of the chief man of the island, whose name was Publius, who received us and lodged us 3 days courteously.
You know, it's crazy because I skipped that point, but how the nations or the Gentiles always perceive men as gods.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? They perceive Paul, first they perceived him to be a murderer, but they knew that he was a murderer. Okay? But now they perceive him because this snake did not destroy him, that he's a god. Because they worship, the nations have always worshiped men as gods.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Read.
Verse 8. And it came to pass that the father of Publius lay sick of a fever and of a bloody flux, to whom Paul entered in and prayed and laid his hands on him, and he healed him. So when this was done, others also which had diseases in the island came and were healed, who also honored us with many honors.
So they honored them with many honors, showing the physicians the honors that due to them. Read.
And when we departed, they ladded us with such things as were necessary.
Back to 38. Yeah. These physicians are servants of the Most High God. Okay? It's the true point we're trying to make.
Ecclesiasticus chapter 38, verse 2. For of the Most High cometh healing.
Read it again.
For of the Most High cometh healing.
For of the who?
Of the Most High
cometh healing. No other source. Read.
And he shall receive honor of the king. The skill of the physician shall lift up his head.
So physician could be what will need to be prideful.
Mm-hmm.
Do y'all, sisters, since you're in the medical field, is that statement true? Most physicians are prideful. Okay? Many of them who do not serve the Most High think themselves to be God. Put themselves in God's stead, think that they're actually saving a life. But life and death and healing and wounding, all that lays in the hand of the Most High. Read.
The skill of the physician shall lift up his head, and in the sight of great men he shall be in admiration. Ahijah hath created medicines out of the earth.
He created medicines out of the earth.
And he that is wise will not abhor them.
He that is wise will not hate them.
Was not the water made sweet with wood?
Was not the water made sweet with wood? Right?
That the virtue thereof might be known? And he hath given men skill, that he might be honored in his marvelous works.
So, he given men skill that who may be honored? Man or the Most High in his marvelous works?
The Most High.
The Most High should be honored in these works. When Christ came and did the works, they glorified the Most High. They didn't glorify him. Okay? Nowadays, men glorify the doctors, not even thinking of the Most High. Okay? Read.
With such.
Yes.
Like,
You get a microphone?
Mm.
She wanted the. Jimmy, go sit down.
I was just gonna say, my doctor on more than one occasion has told me that, you know, if God gave physicians their knowledge, so I'm like, okay. That's because I refuse to take a flu shot. She said, I don't trust in her. Don't you know that God gave physicians the knowledge to do things?
She used the scripture against you. Try to. Oh my goodness. Read.
verse 7. With such doth he heal men, and taketh away their pains. Of such doth the apothecary make a confection, and of his work there is no end. And from him is peace over all the earth. My son, in thy sickness be not negligent.
Now, here's the order, my people. I pray that everybody pay attention to the scripture. My son, what?
In thy sickness be not negligent.
In thy sickness be not negligent. Do not neglect this.
But pray unto Ahijah.
But pray unto the Most High Ahijah. First thing we must do, pray unto the Most High Ahijah. Put our trust, faith, and confidence in him. Read.
But pray unto the Most High, and he will make thee whole.
And he will make thee whole. Read.
Leave. So, that's it.
No, read here. Read it. Verse 10.
I think we come back to that.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Next precept, 2 Kings.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, we come back to Luke 15.
Okay.
Next precept, 2 Kings 20, verse 1 through 7.
So hold where y'all are in Sirach. 2 Kings chapter 20. Take heed to the example. This is a testimony for us all to learn from. Huh?
Second Kings chapter 20, verse 1. In those days was Hezekiah sick unto death, and the prophet Isaiah the son of Amos came to him and said unto him, Thus saith Ahiah, set thine house in order,
Set thy house in order. Read.
for thou shalt die and not live.
For thou shalt die and not live.
Then he turned his face to the wall and prayed unto Ahiah, saying, I beseech.
Wait, he did what? Now Isaiah came to him and gave some dreadful news, some horrible news. What did the king do? Did he not follow the command that we read in Sirach?
Mm-hmm.
In thy sickness, he said, my son, in thy sickness pray unto Ahiah, and he will heal thee. Read.
Then he turned his face to the wall and prayed unto the Most High, saying, I beseech thee, O Ahiah, remember now how I have walked before thee in truth.
Remember how I have walked before you in truth. Hezekiah was a righteous king. Read.
And with a perfect heart.
And with a perfect heart. Now, I'm going to ask y'all, does someone like this king have faith and confidence and fear of the Most High? Read.
And have done that which is good in thy sight. And Hezekiah wept sore. And it came to pass, afore Isaiah was gone out into the middle of the court, that the word of Ahiah came to him, saying, Turn again and
Turn around and go back to my servant. Read.
And tell Hezekiah, the captain of my people, thus saith Ahiah, the God of David, thy father, I have heard thy prayer, and I have seen thy tears. Behold, I will heal thee.
I have heard your prayers and seen your tears. I will heal you. So no matter how dreadful or horrible the news is that we receive from men, we have the confidence and the faith as Hezekiah. That's the thing. The Most High wrote this man's story as a testimony. And the Most High words are true. That's why I said we must soul search. Because a lot of us, like I said, I'm just being honest, a lot of us are playing church. This brother was not playing as a servant. He was really a servant of the Most High. He proved by his faith and his works, and the Most High heard him and healed him. Not with medication, but with what? Faith in his power. Read.
Behold, I will heal thee. On the third day thou shalt go up unto the house of the Most High, and I will add unto thy days 15 years.
I will give you 15 more years when you was out of there. He was out of there. The Most High proved him. He followed the commandment. He could have took Isaiah's news and kept on and just cried and wept and would have been dead. But he remembered the God of his father David. Read.
And I will deliver thee and this city out of the hand of the king of Assyria, and I will defend this city for mine own sake and for my servant David's sake.
Back to Sirach. No, Jeremiah 17:14. Hold still where y'all are in Sirach. Jeremiah chapter 17, verse 14. Something interesting is about to come up, y'all.
Jeremiah chapter 17, verse 14.
Let me read it. 17 to 16.
14 through 16.
14, 16. Jeremiah chapter 17, verse 14 reads, Heal me, O Ahiah, and I should be healed. Save me, and I should be saved. For thou art my praise. Behold, they say unto me, Where is the word of Ahiah? Let him come now. As for me, I have not hastened from being a pastor to follow thee. Neither have I desired the woeful day. Thou knowest that which came out of my lips was right before thee. This is Jeremiah, whose life was on the line, thrown into the dungeon. He said, you know what, even though men accused him of being an evil, wicked prophet, desired to have him to destroy him. He said, it's you that can save me. Because I have been a pastor for you, I have been a minister and spoken only your words. And he knows, as long as he's faithful to the Most High, the Most High got him. Okay? Next precept.
Ecclesiasticus chapter 38, verse 10 through 15.
Let me get it. Verse 10?
Yeah.
So, let's go back to verse 9. My son or daughter, in thy sickness be not negligent, but pray unto a higher, and he will make thee whole. Leave off from sin. Do y'all see what the Most High said? Leave off from sin. That's the problem. That's the main issue. Leave off from sin, and order thy hand aright, and cleanse thy heart from all wickedness. Give a sweet savor and a memorial of fine flour, and make a fat offering as not being. Then give place to the physician. Let's get that again. If thou art in thy sickness, pray to the Most High. Leave off from your sin. Order your doings aright in the sight of the Most High. Do the things he command you. Then you go to the physician. Today, what do? We get nervous and go to the physician. Okay? Put our trust in man. Now, I'm going to show you the difference. Okay? It says, verse 12, then give place to the physician, for a higher hath created him. Let him not go from thee, for thou hast need of him. There's a time when there's a time when in their hands there is good success. For they should also pray unto a higher. Now, I don't know about y'all, but I don't know too many doctors praying to the Most High. Does that mean we're not to go to these Gentile physicians? Or no. We still do our part. The Most High will, he will give them knowledge, skill to preserve us. If we leave off from our wickedness, because that's the thing. We love to pray to the Most High and ask the Most High to do his part, but we neglect our part. That's the thing people leave off. We neglect our part. Most High has always been true to his word, but it's us. It's us. 12. Then give place to the physician, for a higher hath created him. Let him not go from thee, for thou hast need of him. 13. There's a time when in their hands there is good success. For they should also pray unto a higher. See, that means they must be what? Humbled. Not put themselves in the place of the Most High. That he would prosper that which they give for ease and remedy to prolong life. He that sinneth before his maker, let him fall into the hand of the physician. Let me read that again. He that sinneth before his maker, let him fall into the hand of the physician. And we're going to find out some unrighteous kings who fell into the hands of their physician that sinneth or that sinned. Okay? Next precept. What happened? Okay.
12 could actually, verse 12 could actually be what Author was talking about right there, first sentence. When he's talking about he created him. So when he's talking about the doctor, the Lord gave him knowledge or whatever. He's saying right there, he created him.
No, that's why I said she tried to use the scripture against her, because knowing that the Most High gave them knowledge, but the thing about it, they're sitting in the seat of God. They have placed themselves in the seat of God. They're not praying to the Most High. First of all, if they praying to their God, they're not praying to the God of the Hebrews. You know what I'm saying? So as I said, they're prideful. They lift up their head, knowing that the Most High given them this knowledge, okay, or this skill, okay. But at this time, our physicians are Hebrews. Ain't no Persian doctors that we're going to see. Ain't no Middle Easterns, no so-called Palestinians that we're going to see. Ain't no Romans that we're going to see. We're going to our own doctors, our own priests, our prophets who serve and fear the Most High God. You see what I'm saying? That's what it said. Let them pray first and see let me go back to that. Verse 12. Then give place to the physician, for I have created him. Let him not go from thee, for thou hast need of him. There's a time when there is a time when in their hands there is good success. So it's not saying always. Be the Most High will, there will be good success. Concerning what man wants. Because also the Most High said when a righteous man died, that men don't understand it. He has taken them away from their hard labor. It's judgment. You know what I'm saying? So it says, verse 14, for they shall also pray unto a higher, that he will prosper that. Not them, but God will. God will use them as a vessel to help his child out. Not their hands. That's what I said. I have not seen a doctor that humble yet. Okay? That keep the laws of the Most High. Which they give for ease and remedy to prolong life. So that's the true order. And that goes back into the Messiah's day. Okay? Christ had faith, and those who were healed had faith. Christ went to the Most High God, they did too. See that? That's the perfect operation of healing. Both, as I say, it's a two-way street, both having faith and trust in the Most High God. Okay? Where we at?
2 Chronicles Chapter 16, verse 11 through 14.
Now get interested, y'all. Chapter 16?
Chapter 16, yep. Second Chronicles chapter 16, verse 11.
Remember what King Hezekiah did? Now let's listen to what Asa did. Read.
Verse 11. And behold, the acts of Asa, first and last, lo, they are written in the book of the kings of Judah and Israel.
Now here's two books that our forefather had that our people are not aware of. These acts of this king is written in the what?
The books of the kings of Judah and Israel.
Of the king. Now I have the book at home, but why isn't these books in the Bible?
Yeah.
Okay? Read.
And Asa, in the 39th year of his reign, was diseased in his feet, until his disease was exceeding great. Yet in his disease he sought not to a higher.
Yet in his disease he sought not a higher. Read.
But to the physicians. And Asa slept with his fathers, and died in the 41st year of his reign.
You see the difference? Say what, brother?
So he had 2 years to get it right from God, but he still wouldn't.
My brother.
He gave him a chance.
Gave him a chance. Read.
And they buried him in his own sepulchres, which he had made for himself in the city of David, and laid him in the bed which was filled with sweet odors and diverse kinds of spices, prepared by the apothecary's art. And they made a very great burning for him.
Now, this is something I want y'all to pay attention to. Concerning the righteous, you will never read of a righteous man or woman getting cremated. But it was the tradition of the Gentiles. Even the Gentiles have always held cremation like an honorable thing. So this king, they still do. So this king is following the gods of the Gentiles. And the people that's following him are also. So they held a great big burning or cremation for this king. Okay? But a cremation or a death or a cremation is a dishonorable burial per se. Okay? Fire was for the wicked. So whenever the Most High said burn them, they was wicked. But the righteous bones was to be gathered and buried with the fathers. Okay? Read.
Next precept, 2 Chronicles Chapter 21, 11 through 20.
That's the thing. When we're following Gentiles, we're following their customs. When we're serving their gods, we're following their customs. And their custom is against our God. Okay? So right now, they made it less expensive to cremate our people than to bury them because they know it's against our law. And we can't afford it. Read.
Verse 11. Moreover, he made high places in the mountains of Judah and caused the inhabitants of Jerusalem to commit fornication and compelled Judah thereto. And there came a writing to him from Elijah the prophet, saying, Thus saith the high God of David, thy father, because thou hast not walked in the ways of Jehoshaphat thy father, nor in the ways of Asa king of Judah, but has walked in the way of the kings of Israel, and has made Judah and the inhabitants of Jerusalem to go a whoring.
Now, I want to say something about Asa, or Asa, how you want to pronounce it. He used to be righteous. Okay, he used to be righteous. When in the end, he fell. Okay, read.
But has walked in the way of the kings of Israel, and has made Judah and the inhabitants of Jerusalem to go a whoring, like to the whoredoms of the house of Ahab, and also has slain thy brethren of thy father's house, which were better than thyself. Behold, with a great plague will the Most High smite thy people, and thy children, and thy wives, and all thy goods. And thou shalt have great sickness by disease of thy bowels, until thy bowels fall out by reason of the sickness day by day.
And the Most High was joking. Woo! Because he did what? What would happen to him? All these diseases would come for him. It's so great that he says your bowels, we say your bowels will fall out by reason of the sickness day by day. It will get worse and worse. More agony and pain. Read.
Moreover, the Most High stirred up against Jehoram the spirit of the Philistines and of the Arabians that were near the Ethiopians.
Now, show you that what? Spirits rule over nations. He stirred up, he didn't say he stirred up the Ethiopians. He didn't say that he stirred up the Philistines or the Arabians. He said he stirred up the spirit that's over them. You get it? Read.
And they came up into Judah and brake into it, and carried away all the substance that was found in the king's house, and his sons also, and his wives, so that there was never a son left him, save Jehoahaz.
Now do y'all see what I say? Why I say disobedience lead to no protection? No protection. He stirred the gods that was over them, and their gods commanded them to destroy our cities, ravage our wives, and etc., 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 etc. Read.
Save Jehoahaz, the youngest of his sons. And after all this, the Most High smote him in his bowels with an incurable disease. And it came to pass that in process of time, after the end of 2 years, his bowels fell out by reason of his sickness, so he died of sore diseases.
So, because he didn't go to the Most High, he left the Most High. This is how this brother died. In agony and pain. A disgusting, stinky death.
And his people made no burning for him, like the burning of his fathers. 32 years old was he when he began to reign, and he reigned in Jerusalem 80 years and departed without being desired. Howbeit, they buried him in the city of David, but not in the sepulchres of the kings.
Nope. Dishonorable. They said they didn't even care. Woo. Next precept.
Jeremiah chapter 34, verse 5 and 6. Verse 5. But thou shalt die in peace, and with the burnings of thy fathers, the former kings which were before thee, so shall they burn odors for thee, and they will lament for thee, saying, Ah, Lord, for I have pronounced the word, said the Highest. Then Jeremiah the prophet spake all these words unto Zedekiah, king of Judah in Jerusalem.
So now here's the king that rejected the command of the Most High God. The Most High, through Jeremiah, was warning the king and the people that they would go into captivity under Babylon, the king of Babylon. He refused the counsel of Jeremiah, made an allegiance with the Egyptians, and so the Most High said, no, you're going to go into bonds into Egypt, but you're not going to die by the sword. You're going to, you're going to die in peace, but they're going to burn you. Okay? Read.
Next precept, wait, did I get 6? Yep.
Yeah.
Next precept, John chapter 5, verse 1 through 14.
So he died exactly how the prophet Jeremiah proclaimed. John chapter 5, verse 1 to 14.
John chapter 5, verse 1. After this, there was a feast of the Jews, and Yahshua went up to Jerusalem. Now there is at Jerusalem, by the sheep market, a pool, which is called in the Hebrew tongue Bethesda, having 5 porches. In these lay a great multitude of impotent folk, of blind, halt, withered, waiting for the moving of the water. For an angel went down at a certain season into the pool, and troubled the water. Whosoever then, first after the troubling of the water, stepped in was made whole of whatsoever disease he had. And a certain man was there, which had an infirmity 38 years. When Yahshua saw him lie, and knew that he had been now a long time in that case, he said unto him, Wilt thou be made whole? The impotent man answered him, Sir, I have no man, when the water is troubled, to put me into the pool. But while I am coming down, another steppeth down before me. Yahshua said unto him, Rise, take up thy bed, and walk. And immediately the man was made whole, and took up his bed, and walked. And on the same day was the Sabbath. The Jews therefore said unto him that was cured, It is the Sabbath day. It is not lawful for thee to carry thy bed. He answered them, He that made me whole, the same said unto me, Take up thy bed and walk. Then asked they him, What man is that which said unto thee, Take up thy bed and walk? And he that was healed wist not who it was, for Yahshua had conveyed himself away, a multitude being in that place. Afterward, Yahshua findeth him in the temple, and said unto him, Behold, thou art made whole. Sin no more.
What do you say? Thou art made whole.
Sin no more.
Sin no more.
Lest a worse thing come unto thee.
Lest a worse spirit come into you. Okay? Again, do you see how illnesses are a product of sin? Read.
Next precept, Luke chapter 5, verse 12 through 14. Luke chapter 5, verse 12. And it came to pass, when he was in a certain city, behold, a man full of leprosy, who, seeing Yahshua, fell on his face, and besought him, saying, Lord, if thou wilt, thou canst make me clean. And he put forth his hand and touched him, saying, I will, be thou clean. And immediately the leprosy departed from him. And he charged him to tell no man, but go and show thyself to the priest, and offer for thy cleansing, according as Moses commanded, for a testimony unto
So
them.
he told him, go do what we read about in the law.
Mm-hmm.
For thy cleansing, give your sacrifice, and tell the priest for a testimony, showing that this one has come. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Next precept.
Matthew chapter 17, verse 14 through 21. Matthew chapter 17, verse 14. And when they were come to the multitude, there came to him a certain man, kneeling down to him, and saying, Lord, have mercy on my son, for he is a lunatic, and sore vexed. For oft times he falleth into the fire, and oft into the water. And I besought him to thy disciples, and they could not cure him. And Yasha answered and said, O faithless and perverse generation.
Now who is Christ really talking about? His disciples. He said, oh, faithless. The reason why this lunatic could not come out, Christ is going to explain to you, because the disciples didn't have faith. It was a challenge to them. It didn't come like the rest of them did. This was a stronger demon. It's like Peter at one time, he had the faith, he was walking on water, but then he thought about it. He realized and lost faith and started to sink. So Christ is saying, oh, faithless and perverse generation, how long should I be with you? How long should I suffer you? Bring him hither to me. And Yasha rebuked the devil, and he departed out of him, and the child was cured from that very hour. Then came the disciples to Yasha apart, and said, why could not we cast him out? And Yasha said unto them, because of your unbelief. Because of your unbelief. This is why I said, that's why people don't get today. I say a lot of people say one thing, but they're not really about it. These are the disciples of Christ who are with Christ, who have cured people, cast out demons. But because it didn't happen how they expected it, they lost faith. So look yourself in the mirror and challenge your own faith. Because we get into this leading into, in the next couple of days, the Day of Atonement. So this is leading into the Day of Atonement. He says, verse 18, y'all should rebuke the devil, showing you what made him a lunatic. This was no diagnosis, gnosis, what you gonna call it. This was demonic possession. He rebuked the devil, and he departed out of him, and the child was cured from that very hour. Then came the disciples to Yasha apart and said, why could not we cast him out? And Yasha said unto them, because of your disbelief. For verily I say unto you, if you have faith as a grain of a mustard seed, you should say unto this mountain, remove hence to yonder place, and it shall remove, and nothing shall be impossible to you. Howbeit, this kind goeth not out, but by prayer and fasting. There are more stronger demons, people. Let's personalize it more. Okay? Prayer and fasting. We're going to get into the fasting in a minute. Where we at?
Ezra.
So, we're going to read in Ezra one of the premises of praying. Ezra what?
Ezra chapter 8, verse 21 through 23.
Let me get it. Ezra chapter 8, 21 to 23.
Mm-hmm.
Kind when everybody's there. Then I proclaimed a fast there at the river of Ahab, that we might afflict ourselves before our God. This is when they came out of Babylon, people. To seek them, listen, Day of Atonement is coming up. So the Most High will give us some reasons we must fast for it. Okay? Then, verse 21, then I proclaim a fast there, toward everyone to fast. It says, then I proclaim a fast there at the river of Hava, that we might afflict ourselves before our God. To do what? To seek of him a right way for us. To seek of the Most High a right way for us. We fast for instructions. To seek of him a right way for us, and for our little ones, and for our substance. We're fasting, we're afflicting ourselves to do what? Seek knowledge and understanding. So when one don't understand something, fast. There's more to that. It says, and for our substance. 22, for I was ashamed to require of the king a band of soldiers and horsemen to help us against the enemy in the way. Ezra did not rely on the Gentiles for help. When they had a threat, he told them to fast, and they would go to the Most High for protection, for instructions, not the Gentiles. Because it says, for help us against the enemy in the way, because we had spoken unto the king, saying, the hand of our God is upon all them for good that seek him, but his power and his wrath is against all them that forsake him. So we fasted and besought our God for this, and he was entreated of us. And we defeated our enemies by the power of the Most High God and angelic help. Okay? Next one.
Isaiah chapter 58, verse 1 through 14.
Get more insight on the premise of fasting. Cry aloud, spare not. Lift up thy voice like a trumpet, and show my people their transgressions, and the house of Jacob their sins. Spare not. Don't be so concerned about people's feelings. He says, suffer, if you love your brother or sister, you suffer them not to sin. Spare not. Yet, now the Most High going to explain this to us. He said, yet, they seek me daily and delight to know my ways, as a nation that did righteousness, and forsook not the ordinances of their God. They ask of me the ordinance of justice. They take delight in approaching to God. Wherefore have you fasted? Wherefore have we fasted? Say they, and thou seest not. Wherefore have we afflicted our souls, and thou takest no knowledge? Behold, in the day of your fast ye find pleasure, and exact your own labors. Most High said that his people, when they come into a fast, they come in like they're righteous. But when you was fasting, you was doing your own pleasures. For those who don't know, a fast is like a Sabbath. We are not to do our own pleasures. It's the same laws as the Sabbath. He said, they seek me as a nation who kept my ordinances and asked me of my ordinances. But when you was fasting, it says, you found pleasure in, he says, behold, in the day of your fast, ye find pleasure. And exact all your labors. Behold, ye fast for strife. Now this is what Most High saying these people and us today are fasting for. Ye fast for strife and debate, and to smite with the fist of wickedness. Ye should not fast as ye do this day, to make your voice to be heard on high. So many brothers would pray for fasting, they fast for understanding, for prideful reasons. Because they know the Bible says that you fast for understanding. But you're fasting to debate with somebody. You come here asking for knowledge so you can just debate. You don't want my knowledge. You don't use my knowledge against your brother to puff yourself up like you know something. Verse 5. Is not such a fast that I have chosen? Is it such a fast that I have chosen? This is what I asked y'all to fast for? A day for a man to afflict his soul. Is it to bow down his head as a bulrush and to spread sackcloth and ashes under him? Wilt thou call this a fast and an acceptable day to a higher? Is not this the fast that I have chosen? To loose the bands of wickedness. We're fasting to loose the bands of wickedness, to the Most High to rebuke these evil spirits, to cast these demons out of us. To undo the heavy burdens, and to let the oppressed go free, and that ye break every yoke. Y'all understand what we're supposed to be fasting for? This is what the Messiah did when he was casting out these demons. He released these bonds, the yoke of these demons that they had over the children of God. We're possessed with demons, people. Verse 7. Is it not to deal thy bread to the hungry? So let's deal with the church, because we're not dealing in the community as we once did. So our community has become the church. Is it not to deal thy bread to the hungry, and that thou bring the poor that are cast out to thy house? When thou seest the naked, that thou clothe them, and that thou hide not thyself from thy own flesh. Now we gotta check ourselves, people. We gotta check ourselves. When a situation is brought before us, what's our spirit? What's our spirit? How are we receiving it? Are we leaning on our own understanding, or are we rejecting our own flesh? Verse 8. Then shall thy light break forth as the morning, and thy health shall spring forth speedily, and thy righteousness shall go before thee. The glory of our highest shall be thy reward. It's talking about having the right spirit, a contrite spirit, a loving spirit. One who showed mercy to and to the one that the spirit is compelling them not to show mercy to. Then when you have this type of spirit to do these type of things, then your health will be rewarded. Then shalt thou call, and the highest shall answer. Thou shalt cry, and he shall say, Here I am. If thou take away from the midst of thee the yoke, the putting forth of the finger, the pointing of blame, and speaking vanity. And if thou draw out thy soul to the hungry, and satisfy the afflicted soul, then shall thy light rise in obscurity, and thy darkness be as the noonday. And the highest shall guide thee continually, and satisfy thy soul in drought, and make fat thy bones. And thou shalt be like a watered garden, and like a spring of water, whose waters fail not. That's it.
Through 14.
And they that shall be of thee shall build. No, I don't want to go there. What's the next precept?
James chapter 5, verse 13 through 16.
So the Most High is showing us what type of servant we must be. That sounds like to me a selfless one. A selfless one. When our brothers and sisters come to us with that problem, we're not pointing the fingers. James chapter what?
5.
So give me 3 reasons, people, family, what to fast for. Your microphone?
Knowledge. Knowledge and wisdom.
Knowledge and wisdom. Very true.
Read out demons. So you abstain from food and water and read and treat it as a Sabbath, although they don't, it says in the pseudepigrapha that they don't eat like, physical food, but they still are, they always thirsty and hungry. So as we're feeding those demons, we're never gonna get rid of them. If we say we're fasting, like, but we eating grass or whatever, how they fast.
Exactly. That's what I was going to bring up. Let's bring that point up. Yes, Sister Kelly.
Perseverance.
You can't go out of order, sister. Go ahead. Okay. Go ahead. Ask Nisha. Yes, you do. Go ahead, girl.
I was just thinking for direction.
Direction.
Yeah.
Perseverance. So going forward, Monday night at sundown, we're fasting with a purpose. We're not just fasting as our forefathers did, just a commandment sake.
Mm-hmm.
We're fasting with a purpose. So this is the thing, right? Every one of us must truly look ourselves in the mirror. And everything that you know that's in you, that you're fighting with, understand what today's lesson is. It's to acknowledge what it really is, what they really is. It's demonic possession.
Mm-hmm.
Anything that you're tied to that's holding you against Christ, it's demonic possessions. This is the operation of the spirits that are inside you. And it's not this one spirit. Everything you do outside of Christ in the Most High God is a spirit. If it's fornication, it's a spirit. It's a spirit of fornication. There's a spirit of strife. There's a spirit for every sin. Understand, that's what Satan asks for. Weapons. For every offense, there's a spirit. Not one of them, many. For every sin, there's spirits. So whatever you get, and that's why people don't understand, they think they have these organic thoughts. The thoughts that's in your mind that's holding you against baptism, that's holding you against righteousness, is that you have allowed these wicked, unclean spirits to control you. And you're convinced, they have convinced you that it's okay and that, eventually you're going to get it right. Tomorrow comes, eventually I'm going to get it right. One day you won't have it tomorrow. One day you won't have a tomorrow. But they're convincing you that you will have a tomorrow. They have deceived you. They are doing their job. We gotta do ours. Like, for example, I'm gonna go at this again. I said this last week, I think it was, when it comes to reading. You about to say that? What do you think is preventing you from reading? Seriously. What do you think is preventing you from saving your soul? Reading. Christ says again, this means everlasting life. They're taken in knowledge of you, the only true God, and of whom? The one that you sent forth. Who has deceived you and made you really think that whatever you got going on is more important than that? Taking in the knowledge of that the Most High has preserved for us to save our souls. Our defense. You can't just fast the Most High for instructions because He gave you instructions, but you won't read it. These are instructions in righteousness. Yes. Your brother microphone. You good? Oh, I-9 do this thing, huh?
Hmm?
Oh, I-9 do this
Yeah.
thing.
Mm-hmm.
I guess I got a two-part here. I got a question and some understanding here. One of the things that, as far as is concerning me, when fasting or praying, I pray for the understanding.
Hold up, brother. I got you. Excuse me. I'll be right back. Hold that.
Mm-hmm.
What I was saying is that as when praying, I pray for the understanding of my reading and getting the knowledge. But it seems like when I receive that knowledge, yes, I do get puffed up. What I mean by puffed up, because I know. But it seems like I'm wrong, and maybe I'm reading wrong or listening to it wrong, that it's like if you get the knowledge and then you puffed up and want to go say something, it's not that. But if I'm able to, someone talking to me about the Bible, they're wrong, and I prayed on it, got the knowledge and understanding, and I say something, I'm not saying it being because I'm puffed up about it, but it seems like if I do get puffed up about it, I'm wrong. Is that what I'm reading? Is what I'm understanding?
This is the thing, brother. See, when you're praying to the Most High, fasting to the Most High, He knows your heart. So, I'm not accusing you of this right here, but He knows your imaginations. Okay? So that's why He gives to His children what He gives to them. And how He gives it to them is according to how He gives it to them. So, one may really mean what you say. And the Most High may give him more knowledge than He may give you, because of that's really in you. Even though you may say, well, this is what you're doing, the Most High knows for real what it is. You know what I'm saying? Because here's the thing. Today, for example, I'm gonna use an example. Today, I told you we watched the cartoon of Abraham, okay? And it was showing us Ishmael. And it was showing us something that we haven't read, but it was showing us that Ishmael didn't have the true characteristics of the chosen seed. Like, he was like, no, he was stubborn and he didn't have the love for the Most High God as Abraham did. Like, Abraham was saying, no, son, regardless of what, we must fear the Most High and keep His commandments. He's like, well, do you always got to do what the Most High say do? But when Isaac came, Isaac had that same spirit. And it shows a contrast of the two sons and why the Most High chose Isaac over Ishmael. See what I'm saying? One really had the spirit, one didn't. You know what I'm saying? So, and like, Isaac always said the proper things of one that was righteous. Ishmael said the things that wasn't righteous. So don't take what I'm saying the wrong way. But what you should have said is, see, what the Bible is really showing the knowledge was not to be received for anyone else. The knowledge was for yourself. It's not to get knowledge to go talk to somebody else about it. The knowledge is to correct you or us in the right way so that we save our souls. Knowledge is like, you never ask the Most High for knowledge to be able to teach nothing. But the thing is, this, to guide us in the right way, is for our salvation. What good is it? The Most High give you all his knowledge. This you go out and testimony about the Most High God, but you a castaway. See, that's the thing that had to change. He said, what's in a man's heart must come out of his mouth. So analyze what you're really saying before the Most High God, not us. Because when you pray or fast the Most High, man, it's a personal thing. Because, brother, I would rather, it's like Paul said, I'd rather speak in no tongues. You know what I'm saying? Or like, I would rather have not received knowledge that, like, I never, ever one time fasted or prayed for knowledge to be able to teach anyone anything. I have prayed on the spot multiple times when you call me for an answer. Somebody called me for an answer, I pray immediately to the Most High, if it's be a will, give me the understanding to teach, to guide his servant in the right direction. Immediately, I go to him to be able to help you because you're asking his servant for an answer, so I don't rely on myself, I go to him. You see what I'm saying? But not for my sake to be puffed up, because I'm going to him, I'm showing him, I'm going in the proper order. Now, when it comes to myself, I'm just asking for, if it's anything that I'm doing that I don't know, expose it, rid me of it. This is what I'm going to fast for. This is what I pray for, never for anything else. Because the teaching thing is a commandment that's commissioned by him. No, the knowledge is for self. You know what I'm saying? And what happens, brother, as you gain knowledge, be it the Most High will, if someone asks you a question, you go to the Most High, if it's will, give him understanding so that you don't lead his child astray. Then it's his will for you to open your mouth and say something about him. But never should we fast. That's what it's saying. That's what he's talking about. Never should I never ask for understanding so I can teach his class. You know what I'm saying? But that's not right. Every Sabbath night, I pray for him, if it be a will, to install in me the lesson to bring glory to his name and teach the truth. That I do for the service of him. Because I have a service, but outside that, I never pray to understand and be able to answer anyone's questions. It's hey, anything that I ain't doing right, expose it, rid me of it. Rebuke that demon. Because I want to live. So that's what it's talking about. Get it? Now you say you had a second part.
No, that was it. Statement.
Uh-huh. Yeah, see, because that's what we're talking about. Because, you know, we'd be very careful. Because knowledge puff it up. Knowledge puff it up. But like I said, what good is it you to open your mouth, talk about the Most High, and you're not doing it? You know what I'm saying? So always pray for your correction. That's what it says, in the way that we should, in the right way, which you should go. Teach, like, grab me by the right hand and lead me in righteousness. You know what I'm saying? So, okay. Any more questions like that? Next precept.
James chapter 5, verse 13.
Go ahead.
Go to now, ye that say, today or
Where
tomorrow.
you at?
Oh, Salaki, that's 4. James chapter 5, verse 13. Yeah, I found it. Is any among you afflicted? Let him pray. Is any merry? Let him sing psalms. Is any sick among you? Let him call for the elders of the church, and let them pray over him, anointing him with oil in the name of the Most High. And the prayer of faith shall save the sick, and the highest shall raise him up. And if he have committed sins, they shall be forgiven him.
14. Is any sick among you? Let him call forth for the elders of the church, and let them pray over him, anointing him with oil in the name of the Most High. And the prayers of faith shall save the sick, and the highest shall raise them up, and if he have committed sins, they shall be forgiven him. That person must understand what we've been going through all day today. That person must humble themselves, put full trust and confidence in the Most High. Pray to the Most High first, then you go to the elders. You go to the elders. Okay? If you committed sins, sin no more. Okay? You're not putting your faith in the elder, you're putting your faith in the Most High, that he will use the elder as a physician to help you. Okay? Next precept. Oh, confess your faults one to another, and pray one for another, that ye may be healed. The effectual, fervent prayers of a righteous man availeth much. See, that's the thing. Are you willing to do that? Confess your sins one to another. I was talking to a sister concerning something like this. But the more we are amongst each other, the easier it is to do this. When you don't know each other, there's a chasm, there's a trust factor. You know, you can't come to me and come out pray over you if you're not going to open up with honesty. You can't. And notice how it just didn't say the elder. So, a brother can go to a brother. A sister can go to a sister. But it comes to a point when you must come to the elder. Okay. So a sister can confess in a sister. And a brother can confess onto a brother. See? Because this is the commandment. We just don't confess our sins before baptism. That's why whenever I do something wrong, what do? I tell y'all. So. But if we should not keep commandments, again, I fear for you. Okay. Next precept.
Ecclesiasticus chapter 34, verse 13 through 16, 19, and 24 through 26.
It's the last two precepts.
Come on.
See, cause like, listen to these scriptures, okay? Verse 13 says, the spirit of those that fear Ahia should live. See, if you don't fear the Most High, you're not going to keep his commandments. There's no reason for you to fast. For their hope is in him that saved them. Whoso feareth Ahia shall not fear, nor be afraid, for he is his hope. Blessed is the soul of him that fears Ahia. To whom do he look? And who is his strength? 1:1-2.
16, and then...
For the eyes of Ahia are upon them that love him. He is their mighty protection and strong stay, a defense from heat, and a cover from the sun at noon, a preservation from stumbling, and a help from falling. Those who really fear the Most High, they understand that. That's how they operate. They know that it's only the Most High that can prevent them from falling. He is their cover from the sun at noonday, at its hottest point. So in the hottest point of your trials, your tribulations, it's him that will cover you. Last precept.
Verse 19.
19?
And then 24 through 19.
The Most High is not pleased with the offerings of the wicked, neither is he pacified for sin by the multitude of sacrifices. He's not pacified with your many excuses. It's because you say, I'm sorry. He's not, that don't pacify him. He's not pacified with the sacrifices of the wicked, those who will not give their life over to him, those who will not serve him in spirit and truth. Verse 24. It says, when one prayeth and another curseth, whose voice will a higher hear? He that washes himself after the touching of a dead body, if he touch it again, what abated his washing? So is it when a man that fasteth for his sins and goeth again and do the same. Who will hear his prayers? Or what do his humbling profit him? Let me read that again. Huh? Answer the question. The Most High has given us great examples going to the day of atonement. When one prayeth and another curseth, so one person is speaking ill towards his brother or his sister, whose voice will the higher hear? He that washes himself after the touching of a dead body, if he touch it again, what advantage is washing? So you go to the Most High, ask him to forgive you for his sins, and you go to do it again. What profit would you asking him to forgive you? So is it with a man that fasteth for his sins and goeth again and doeth the same. Set your house in order before you go to the Most High in prayer and in fasting. Don't make a vow to the Most High that you will not keep. I'm just warning you. He is not the one to play with. Who will hear his prayer? Or what do his humbling profit him? The Most High know when you fake it and when you real. Okay? Now we talked about the Most High creating from the earth medicine for healing. And this is why I say, like today, the Most High is not massively healing people, because there's a time for that. Okay? Let's read it. Revelation chapter 22. Right? Where we at?
Okay.
1 through 5. Kind when everybody's there. Revelation is the last book of the Bible, sweetheart. And he showed me a pure river of water of life, clear as crystal, proceeding out of the throne of God and of the Lamb. In the midst of the streets of it, and on either side of the river, was there the tree of life, which bare 12 manner of fruits, and yielding her fruit every month. And the leaves of the trees were for the healing of the nations. And there should be no more curse, but the throne of God and of the Lamb should be in it. And his servants should serve him, and they should see his face. His name should be in their foreheads, and there should be no night there. And they need no candle, neither the light of the sun, for a higher giveth them light, and they should reign forever and ever. But in the kingdom of God, do y'all get that? There's no reason Most High to heal everybody right now, because he's going to do that to the righteous, Jew and Gentile alike. The healing of the masses was done for a sign, for the unbelievers. Understand that. Those who hold to their integrity and righteousness will be healed from all the curses that was put upon our people from the sin of our father Adam. There'll be no more pain, no death. Okay? So, it's the recap, but there's so much we can go into showing that, you know, the Most High is going to do marvelous things for the obedient. But just understanding what true diseases are, with demonic possessions. And the way we handle that is being honest with the Most High. Being true servants of His. Remember, we cannot ask the Most High for something that we won't do ourselves. You can't ask the Most High for nothing if we're not going to do our part. Okay? But the order of that, sin no more. Our God will protect you. Even if you remain in your sickness, the Most High will prolong your life if it be His will. So regardless of what illness, disease that one may have, remember, it's not the disease that you have that's important, but it's how you die. It's better to die with diabetes in your righteousness than to die wickedly whole. Understand that. There will be a day when our God will command His Son, our Lord and Savior, even our King, to bless and heal us, to grant us immortality. Look forward to that. Seek ye the kingdom first, and all these other things will be given to you. Don't look to just be whole. Look to be obedient. Fast the Most High teach you His ways, protect you, train you up in the way which you should walk. If I have to die with whatever disease I'm plagued with, I'd rather die with that in my righteousness. It's more important to be righteous and obedient than whole. And that's the spirit that the Most High looks for. Because the other part, truthfully, y'all, is carnal. Even with Paul, in the elbow that he had that was a thorn in his flesh, the Most High said, look, my grace is sufficient. It suffices. Deal with it. Paul had to live with his thorn in the flesh until the day that he died. But he died in obedience. And as a pillar in the kingdom. Yes.
Satan uses that desire to
Can you get a microphone?
Just like Satan uses death, he also uses the desire of wanting to be whole, to entice us to sin.
God. So, you know what, for example, that's a great point. So let's look at the churches. And that's why I say we would be very careful. That's why we must study ourselves approved before God. Because we see people using events in the Bible to make a merchandise out of God's people. Okay. Now, every video that I've seen of a pastor so-called healing somebody, never have I heard of their mouth, go, sin no more. Have you heard that before? Did they teach them what sin was and why and what it is and how they must operate? But here's people, so-called, run up to a line to be healed, to go do the same thing. The apostle said the same thing, sin no more. As Christ said, sin no more. That's what it's all about, being unblemished. That's what Christ says, unless a worse thing come from you. So if the pastor, whatever did, so-called healed you. Is that changing how you operate? Now you just whole. Now you're just a whole sinner. Do you get what I'm saying? So I hope that out of this lesson, that we have a thorough understanding. Do we have a thorough understanding of what diseases are? And look, this is prophecy, people. Okay? It's prophecy. Which makes our God's words true. So for anyone in here who may have an illness, go to the Most High. You know, like, always remember to utter, if it's your will, let your will be done.
Mhm.
And be willing to persevere in your disease. But to give you the motivation to read His Word, to meditate His law, to protect you. Give you the ability to keep His commandments. That's the important thing. Look for the kingdom. Look for the kingdom. Be as our forefathers, desiring a country afar off. Desire that over the carnal. That's why it says, for I reckon that the little light affliction that we're suffering right now does not compare with the blessings the Most High prepared for us. But I will give it all, like Paul says, to win Christ. Do what it takes to win Christ. And live. I hope y'all comprehend. I love y'all. I bid y'all Godspeed. Let's break bread, close in prayer. Shalom.
Shalom.